What should we be expecting from Tua Tagovailoa, the Atlanta Falcon? How much of a sleeper is one AFC West running back, and is Romeo Dobbs finally going to be featured in an offense that is not the Green Bay Packers? Plus, we're going to be once again joined by Danny Kennedy, the $25,000 Terminator champion from 2025. We got a great show for you. Ferrell Elliott is here. I'm Eric Balkman. Stick around. Your high-stakes fantasy football hour extra reps episode starts now.
Can't stand the pressure. I've seen greater men than neither lesser.
Broadcast live and heard around the world, you are now watching the most entertaining hour of radio on the planet. Welcome to the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by MyFFPC.com with your hosts Eric Balkman and Ferrell Elliott. The High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour is your home for analysis from the best players in the world. And now, because no one else was available, here are Eric Balkman and Ferrell Elliott.
Solace in the scripture. Are we not all our father's sons? I became a man, nobody ever told me what a man was.
Thank you once again, Rob, and greetings and salutations to all of you Bulkaholics and Ferrelliacs. It is Extra Reps, the second episode we've done of this show, a spinoff of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by MyFFPC.com. Slightly above average host here, Eric Balkman, at Eric Balkman on X. You know me from the RotoViz High Stakes Slowdown, the FFPC Insider Access Show, and of course, the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour and the Fantasy Football Players Championship. My co-host is the definitive commissioner of fantasy football, Ferrell Elliott. Coming up on Extra Reps tonight, let's get into Colston Loveland, talk about the Chicago Bears offense as a whole. We'll also talk about the impact Malik Willis is going to have on that Dolphins offense, including but not limited to Devon Achane and Jalen Waddle and Greg Dulcich, because why not? We'll talk about him as well. If you are looking to put this advice to good use, check out the FFPC. We have Dynasty and Empire Orphans available right now for as little as $1. Many of those teams, if they're not a dollar, they've been discounted quite a bit. Pick them up right now at myffpc.com and play fantasy football all year round. If you want to get in on our first tournaments of the year, we have the Never Too Early Best Ball Tournament, the Never Too Early Superflex Best Ball Tournament, a $125 entry into the Never Too Early. That gets you eligible for a $40,000 grand prize. The Superflex version has a $10,000 grand prize, and it only costs $35 to get in. But get in now is what you should do, because once the NFL draft starts, those drafts end. We put a pin in them. They're done for the season. So get in now before they fill up and before the NFL draft starts. The FFPC Big Gorilla is back for its second year. $1 million grand prize once again. $350 entry fee once again. $50 discount on every third team you pick up. The 7 Bananas promo, as well as the early Rampage tournament going on right now. The early Rampage tournament features a $25,000 grand prize. If you're in one of the first 200 leagues in the Big Gorilla, you're automatically in the early Rampage as well. So you can win 2 tournaments for the price of 1 entry fee. Baby Gorilla available for the first time ever this year as well. A $100,000 grand prize and a $125 entry fee. Who's got it better than you? Nobody. MyFFPC.com is where to go. MyFFPC.com. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment on the video, share it with your friends, share it with your enemies, and get notified each and every time we go live. Want to bring in 2 gentlemen that are going to help me with the proceedings tonight. One is Ferrell Elliott, the definitive commissioner of fantasy football over at KFFSC.com. The other is $25,000 richer as of last season. That was his grand prize for winning the FFPC Terminator Tournament. His name is Danny Kennedy, and he joins us for Extra Reps tonight. Ferrell, good Friday evening to you. How are you?
Oh, buddy, it's good to see you both. It's wonderful to follow up Wednesday's show. We're going to find a tight end that Dan likes.
Yes.
We're going to keep him up late, and we're going to just go on out there and get some players. And in addition to some of the things we want to talk tonight, and I'll wait and see if some of your emails, Balky, might bring it up. But I think what the Commanders are doing is quite vexing for fantasy players that thought some of the young players could be moving up with opportunities like the tight end and the running back, Ja'Cory Merritt.
The first topic I'm going to bring up tonight to you, Danny, we'll bring this up to you first. You mentioned on Wednesday night you were watching Week 17 down in Florida with family. What part of Florida were you at?
Naples. So
Naples. A lot of old money down there, for sure. So when we talk about Florida and Naples, roughly 2.5 hours away is South Beach. And that's where Malik Willis is moving to. God bless him. He moves from the chilly, frozen Lambeau Field down to South Beach. He is the new quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. 3 years, $67.5 million. That is according to Ian Rappaport from the NFL Network. Now, the Dolphins, the same day they released Tua Tagovailoa, literally hours later, they agreed to give Malik Willis all this money. The Packers' pilgrimage coming down from Northeast Wisconsin down to Miami continues. John Eric Sullivan, the GM. Jeff Hafley, the head coach. Now Malik Willis, the quarterback there. They also signed Zane Anderson, a special teams ace and safety, going from Miami to Green Bay. Actually going from Green Bay to Miami as well. Bobby Slowick calling plays this year. I wonder, Danny, and I'll let you weigh in on this and how you feel about it. I'll give you the ADP on Willis in a second. This dude was awesome, but it was in limited fashion the last couple of years. When he played, he was great. He's got the legs that we love to see from quarterbacks. Obviously, anytime you get a running quarterback, I'm intrigued, regardless of how good he is throwing the ball. Maybe that's to my own detriment, but I'm always intrigued. And I do like Malik Willis because I do think if this dude is healthy, regardless of the weapons around him, as long as he's on the field, I do believe he's going to be super flex worthy. If we look at the never too early ADP and the best ball tournament, shout out to Fantasy Mojo at Fantasy Mojo on X. Darren Armani is the webmaster of this great website. Anytime we cite ADP, it's through his website. If you're playing in the FFPC, get a membership to Fantasy Mojo. It is worth its weight in gold. Malik Willis currently quarterback 22 at the 1107. Danny, he's gone as high as the 1002 the last couple of days. How do you feel about Willis in Miami from a Superflex standpoint? And perhaps more importantly, how do you now feel about Devon Achane and Jalen Waddle with Willis throwing the ball to him?
Yeah, I think it upgrades their whole offense. I do. I like Willis a lot, and I actually got to see him that Bears-Packers game, when Love got hurt and he came in, and he played great. He was phenomenal. He really did everything he could to deserve to win that game. So I like Willis a lot. I think he's absolutely a second quarterback I would absolutely consider drafting. If you get two of those backing guys, if he ends up being your top one, you probably need to get somebody right around him too, to have two guys there to play. But I think he could absolutely be a, maybe an every week starter, but definitely a, start based off matchup guy. And, and I think Devon Achane is absolutely running back one. And I think Waddle's going to surprise people too with, the way how he plays as well. So yeah, I'm all for Willis this year.
I think that, I don't like to use the term league winner ever, but especially in March, I don't want to use the term league winner. But Willis Ferrell at quarterback 22 in the 11th round, these are the swings I want to make. These are the stabs I want to take to try to get players like this on my roster who could easily outperform his ADP. I don't think it's that nonsensical to think that if Willis plays in 16 or 17 games this year, that he ends up finishing as a top 15, perhaps even a top 10 quarterback, or perhaps you feel a little bit differently about this, Ferrell.
Well, you got to trust the team. They believe in him and they're paying him. We talked about other players that are paid because of the expectation of performance. And so they're going to give him the shot. They're going to allow him to make some mistakes. They're going to make him comfortable. Sometimes there's more things than just between the lines of football. But when they signed this player, my original thought was, he sure could have used Tyreek Hill. I guess you can't keep that entire thing together. But look, he's got a running back that we can all accept is going to gain somewhere between 1,300 and 1,500 yards. It's going to put him in a lot of down and distance, positive situations. Some of the other running quarterbacks, dual threat quarterbacks that we've talked about, and young quarterbacks have not had that luxury. They don't have that kind of guy. And this is going to be a big, big help. So, obviously, as people believe in him, so why shouldn't we at such draft capital as what Mr. Kennedy is discussing?
Ferrell, $99 million is what the Dolphins are paying for Tua Tagovailoa to not play for them this year. He signed a deal with Atlanta, and this leads us to our first email. Ferrell, I'm going to pitch this to you first Frank in Corpus Christi, Texas. Hello, gentlemen. What's Tua Tagovailoa's level of production going to be in Atlanta? Thanks, y'all. Thank you, Frank, for that email. Ferrell, he's got Drake London, he's got Kyle Pitts, and he's got an injured Michael Penix on this team, or at least a slowly recovering Michael Penix. I do think that Tagovailoa is going to be the guy to start the season. And if he does hold on to that job, or even if he doesn't, I mean, maybe this is more of like a Big Gorilla KFFSC main event pick than a best ball pick. But what's your level of expectation for Tagovailoa with the weapons around him now with the Falcons?
He takes the job and maybe he doesn't give it up. His situation, the two lefties now in the same offensive system. We talked about that. And hey, here's another guy with a pretty good running back and a tight end that's a standout player, at least was last year. You know, it took him a while to get those numbers that we've all expected. So I think Tua's situation within the concept of this team is a great enhancement for what he does. And so, yeah, I'm all for him. I'm there. I'm with him.
Danny, is the environment that Tagovailoa is in this year in Atlanta, when you compare it to what he had in Miami last year, is this a better spot for him? Should we expect better production from him this year?
It's a good question. You know, I mean, you know, when he had a healthy Tyreek and Waddle and Achane, he would, when he was healthy, he would put up numbers. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously the concussions have, taken a toll on him, and has probably affected the way he plays the game, for those. I think he's absolutely one of those, mystery quarterbacks this year, right? Where you could see him come in and take that. Atlanta's got a lot of weapons, right? So he's got Drake, Pitts, and Bijan. I mean, he's got a lot of help, around there. So he could I could see him doing absolutely great and having a great offense there and playing well. Like you said, if Penix is ready to come back and Tua is playing great, I think you let Tua play. Mm-hmm. At the other same time, he's just so risky because he's one hit away.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate to say he's just so risky of a quarterback and to do that, to where, it's one of those. I could see myself drafting him real late, as just a flyer, and just hold on to him, and maybe he turns out great, maybe he doesn't. But I think it's be pretty hard to go into him and expect him to be very productive, right away. I think it's a tough expectation for him.
I love the fact that he's inside. This is the second quarterback I've talked about being inside. But, we think about Miami being a good weather. Miami, not necessarily good weather. It's humid. Take a lot out of you the fourth quarter. You're drained. You say you're used to it, but the body can only take so much. Sometimes it's windy. Oftentimes it's raining. Mm-hmm. He's going to get in a place with a controlled environment with a passing offense that is drawn up and designed for him to, particularly for him to be successful. They will play to his strengths. I like it. I like it for the fantasy prospects of all those players that and understanding what he can do for fantasy football. Aren't you a little more excited about Tua than you would be Kirk Cousins?
Yes, I am. And I also like the idea of the Falcons going out and adding Olamide Zaccheaus and Jahan Dotson, more help for Tagovailoa.
Brad Cruz's favorite player, I think, is because he was the first guy that could pronounce it properly.
That probably, yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I am curiously, or I should say, I'm cautiously optimistic on Tagovailoa, but I'm also with Danny. Taking stabs at him late, not necessarily targeting him at all. Let's go to Brooklyn, guys. This is Andrew who writes in, "Hey fellas," and I'll pitch this to you, Danny, first. How much of a sleeper is J.K. Dobbins now that he's back in Denver? Thank you, Andrew in Brooklyn, for your email. So let's kind of unpack this, and I'll set this up this way. We knew that R.J. Harvey was going to have a running mate in Denver again this year, much in the same way we knew he was going to have a running mate after Denver drafted him last year. If this is a 2-year deal, $20 million. The Broncos are paying J.K. Dobbins $10 million this year to play running back for the Broncos. I think it really surprised me how the investment into Dobbins, knowing how much time he's missed over the years with injury. And I think this is kind of a detriment to RJ Harvey, almost relegating him to like kind of a quasi third down guy. I think they want it to be Dobbins. I think they want Dobbins out there every first and second down that they can. Danny, I'm very bullish on this player. And quite frankly, I'm less excited about RJ Harvey when I saw the numbers on this deal for Dobbins.
Same thing. When I saw that $10 million a year, I'm just like, you're paying a running back $10 million a year. You're expecting him to be running back one. And, Dobbins obviously has proven he can catch the ball out of the backfield and proven he's versatile too, to where, certainly they're going to give him the first, second down starts. But I mean, if he's catching the ball good, he could absolutely turn down into a, 3-down back. And, those are the best to have in fantasy right there. So no, I like Dobbins a lot. I'm very well all in him. I agree. I think by them giving him that amount of money does make you think what Peyton thinks of Harvey.
Yeah,
he could do a lot. He could do a great deal with 200, 215 carries, and Harvey still play for 150 carries, maybe.
Get in while you can now on Dobbins. Running back 44 going on average at the 1208. That is after JCM and Jordan Mason, Woody Marks, James Conner. Dobbins is going to go up, and I'm staying away, Ferrell, from RJ Harvey at running back 22 at the 410. I'll see how far he drops, but it's going to be really difficult for me to invest in Harvey this year. Do you see it the same way?
I'm in the Big Gorilla right now, and when we close out tonight's activity, I will probably be drafting Dobbins with the first pick of the 8th round.
There you go. Next email comes in to us from one Mike in Orland, California. Ferrell, you're up first on this one. Is Romeo Doubs finally going to be featured on the Patriots? Loving the Wednesday night show. Thank you, Mike in Orland, California. I like how Mike tells us how much he likes the Wednesday show and I read his email on Friday. That's just the great.
Well, look. The Wednesday night show is on Wednesday night, Dan. I just because what we were doing last Wednesday night. But you can enjoy the Wednesday night show any day of the week, Balky. And I think that's what the gentleman of California is getting at.
Are you going to be enjoying Romeo Doubs?
Well, hell yes. And he's going to wear that funky little helmet covering, and I'm going to love it. And he's going to find the end zone. He and Boutte. And if Drake May makes incremental skill increasement.
Yeah.
If he's just a little better at being Drake May, that's a lot better for those receivers. They're a juggernaut up there in New England, and everybody talks about their schedule and all that type of stuff. These guys are getting ready to play some championship football, and that a lot of that's going to come through the air with this quarterback. I love Romeo Doubs in this situation.
Danny, Kayshon Boutte, 16th round. Matt Collins, 19th round. Kyle Williams, 20th round. Romeo Doubs, right now, and obviously a lot of this ADP was, prior to him signing with New England, 1403. It's weird to see that the top pass catcher for the Patriots, a team that was in the Super Bowl last year, is not going until the 14th round. Now, by the time this airs, he might have risen to round 12, might even risen to round 11, maybe even round 10. But I think right now the getting's good on Romeo Doubs. Your thoughts on how it's going to be different for him in New England as far as his stats go compared to what his stats looked like when he was in Green Bay?
Yeah, I mean, you got to love Romeo Doubs at that ADP right there. I mean, it just, as the, wide receiver one in that offense, right now, he's going to be given every opportunity to be to prove himself. He's a wide receiver one. In Green Bay, he was still productive, but there just had so many options there, of Watson and Jaden Reed and and Matthew Golden and then Kraft. I mean, there's just, Green Bay had so many different spots to where right now you see Romeo Dobbs is one, and then whoever Booty's, 2, or the tight end, Henry, right, is still be very involved, there as well. But Drake May's proven himself that, hey, he's their guy. He's absolutely going to be their quarterback. And, I think Dobbs could absolutely be in for a big year this year.
Ferrell, I know you like Dobbs. ADP, you're smashing 10th round still with Dobbs if he gets up that high?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I know you just led off on this previous email. I want you to lead off again on this, Danny, because it affects your Chicago Bears. Eddie in Big Sandy, Texas, how high is too high to draft Colston Loveland? Now, you and I were talking about this before the show this evening, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. Were you a little surprised? Because I know you like Loveland. Were you a little surprised to find out that if you want him in the Never Too Early Best Ball Tournament, you have to invest an early 3rd-round pick into him?
Yeah, but hearing that, it's because of, in my opinion, the lack of the amount of tight ends this year that are elite. You're always it's just, and especially in the FFPC, you're gonna have to overpay for your value in the tight end.
Mm-hmm.
You're just gonna have to get one of those top guys. And I do think that McBride, Bowers, Loveland and Warren, I think, I think all those, guys, obviously McBride, Bowers are, above Warren and Loveland, but I do think all of them are, tight ends that, are just significantly above, the rest. So I think absolutely, if you're going to want those guys, you're probably going to have to go in the top 3 rounds, depending on how the board plays out or whatever you can get. I wouldn't even be opposed of, second half of round 2, maybe reaching if you need to, just because when you come back to late round 3, or probably those guys are probably gone. And then you're not going to, in my opinion, you're not going to want to draft another tight end right there.
Ferrell, I think
you've got I'm sorry, Balky.
I was just going to say, Ferrell, I think we found a tight end that Danny likes.
Well, yeah, and he's a Bear. Surprise, surprise, Danny. That's okay. Nobody's going to hold that against you. So you mentioned 4 tight ends. Is that what we're dealing with? A top tier of 4 tight ends?
Who's number 5 right now? Pitts?
Fannin is number 5.
Fannin?
Yeah. So here's the way it's shaping up. Now, again, this is Never Too Early Best Ball ADP that I'm citing here, but you got the top 4 exactly right. So it goes McBride, Bowers, Loveland, Warren. Then you're looking at Fannin in the 4th, and then the 2 5th-round tight ends are Tucker Kraft and Kyle Pitts.
And it is a wild card because of the injury. We just don't know what you're going to get physically from him.
Yeah, and honestly, one of those wild cards, even he was real good the first half of the year to get hurt. Tucker Kraft, played real well, and that's I think if I'd have leaned on one of those guys you just said, I mean, I could see Kraft. He was playing real well until he got hurt, and he's absolutely he's one of Love's favorite targets. He could, absolutely, if he's recovered, I could see him, playing pretty well. I mean, Pitts, right? He had 1 or 2 good games last year, and then it was so inconsistent with that. I mean, 2 is the question, is always the question mark. Their quarterback situation is a question mark with that. But, I don't know. Pitts could be okay. I just don't, in my opinion, you got 4 real good guys, and then a lot of them are, there's a lot of question marks.
Yeah.
Via whatever after. So,
well, the Swifties are going to check in and say, watch Kelsey climb past.
Right. We talked about him on Wednesday for sure. Just real quick before we move, I know Ferrell's got a question or two. Before we move on, as a Bears fan who also plays high-stakes fantasy football, are there any Bears besides Loveland that we need to be on this year, Danny?
What's Burden's ADP right now?
Yeah, so if I look at if again, the Never Too Early ADP Best Ball Tournament is what we're citing here from Fantasy Mojo. Luther Burden currently is wide receiver 22, and he's going to cost you the 506, so a mid 5th round pick for Burden.
Yeah, that'd be That'd be kind of tough right there too. Just because
Are we drafting him at his ceiling at that spot? Do you think?
I think because I think right now, if assuming Loveland and Rome are both, Dunes are both healthy, Burden's probably option 3 there.
Yeah.
And that's tough to draft option 3 in round 5, right? So, but one of those guys, obviously Caleb's gonna get, he's gonna have to, those are gonna be his 3 main guys. So they certainly could produce. I think Rome, produced early in the season, then kind of got hurt and kind of fell off later in the year too. So the 2 wide receivers, in my opinion, are. I think you're going to hit on one and miss on another, and I'm not sure which one it's going to be.
Yes, exactly.
So it's just, but the safe, obviously Loveland's the best, safest play.
Okay.
Danny, you haven't talked a whole lot about rookies tonight, especially at the tight end position. We've got a speed tight end, and Bob Balky will help me with the pronunciation eventually.
Which one are you looking for?
The speed tight end, the guy that
Oregon?
Yes.
Kenyon Sadiq.
Yeah, and then here's a player. I think what we've got to do is be careful not to draft last year's team, and but I think your Bears are very much an improving team, and every player that you brought up, I think you're spot on. You haven't talked about Monongai tonight, and that might be my favorite ascending Bear. I had a favorite ascending running back over with the Commanders. That would be Bill Merritt, who I was impressed with his skills, and I was looking forward to seeing him get a bigger workload this year. Now, Chris Rodriguez, University of Kentucky, and others, was acquired to play there. And in addition, there's conversation now that with, I believe it'd be the 7th pick, that the Commanders will be looking at. The Commanders will be looking at Jeremiah Love, who is in rookie drafts this year is probably the 1-1 player. How much do you look at, or where are you with the rookies right now? And this Commanders team, which has, we talked about the quarterbacks. I think they have a emerging and entertaining and engaging quarterback to watch play football. It makes it real fun to play with him for other players. What do you think about the Commanders players? Just a review of it of any position in relation to this draft.
Yeah, it's it'd be so, obviously if they decide to draft a running back, then, Jacory's, if it's Love or whoever, then, Jacory just, he's got.
I think anyone who drafts Jeremiah Love, whoever is the other running back, is going to.
Yeah, they're going to be. Yeah, they're going to be.
You're going to have a nice spot on the bench to watch
starter,
the games.
You're losing the guy for sure.
You're there for moral support,
Yeah, that's obviously a lot's going to be in the health of Daniels. Assuming he's all good and going to be starting week 1. He rookie, he had a phenomenal rookie year, and then last year didn't things didn't work out with him as planned. But he's got a couple of great weapons, right? McLaurin, Debo. He's got they've absolutely got a lot of talent there to be a productive offense. So, I always love Terry McLaurin. I think he's a very good, he's also a guy too that just, seems to does well in stretches and certainly can, consistently put up wide receiver 1 numbers. I think, he's he'll end up being a very good draft pick. Daniels is, risky too, with that, but certainly his rookie year, he was the top 3 fantasy quarterback, his rookie year. So, he was, it's good there, but just whenever your quarterback goes down, you just kind of got risk all over, and you just got to kind of weigh the options. I'd like to see, I probably won't draft or, at least right now, Jacory, in drafts until after the draft and decide if they do that. It seems like it's too much risk. I do think Washington is targeting a running back, whether Love is there or not. I think they're going to find somebody in the first, high part, first couple rounds of the draft.
I believe that the Commanders, unless they move up, I don't think they're going to get a chance to draft Love. I think he's going to go to Tennessee at 4. And, again, it remains to be seen if that happens or not, but I think that's where he goes right now. The other guy with the Commanders that we can talk about is Chiga Okonkwo, who on Wednesday signed the 3-year deal worth up to $30 million. This dude has never gotten 600 yards in a season, but I don't think he's played with a quarterback as talented as Jaden Daniels before. The other pepper in the gumbo here is Brandon Ayuk got released by the Niners on Wednesday, and he was collegiate teammates with Jaden Daniels. He could end up playing for the Commanders this year, especially if – is Samuel a free agent? Is he still under contract? I don't even know. He's a free agent? Okay. All right. So if they don't bring him back, then it could be Ayuk and McLaurin on the perimeter, Okonkwo over the middle. Zach Ertz tore his ACL late last year, and they still need a running back. I mean, Chris Rodriguez going to the Jaguars. They're going to need somebody to go with JCM, and maybe it is a running back in the early third or something like that for the Commanders. I don't know, but certainly they're still sort of shaping that offense there right now, guys. Ferrell, I'll leave this up to you. Do you have anything else tonight on extra reps for myself or for Danny?
Well, I think you guys have proven that you're great players and great minds of the FFPC. It's a pleasure talking football with both of you. The free agency, I'll remind everyone that the free agency will continue. The big week is over now, but you just brought up Debo and some other guy. There's a lot of stories still to be told, and I think that as I return to my first Big Gorilla draft of the year, the message that is hitting me just right on the head is our old boys from Frying Pan Inc. and their logo with the frying pan bang right on the head. If you don't get a running back early, you're not going to get any running backs. That's kind of how I feel about it. And there might be some emerging running backs. Dan, when you go to draft this year, my question to you is, out of those first 5 picks, how many of them are going to be running backs? He's thinking, Balky.
Yeah.
He's thinking. Cue the Jeopardy music.
I mean, honestly, maybe I would say 1, max 2.
Okay.
1, max 2. If you do get the second one, because I just think if you don't get certainly if you don't get a tight end early, it's just then you're taking a significant hit right there. Obviously with this full PPR and everything, all the tight end premium, wide receivers and tight ends, go a little bit above average, than running backs. But like you said, they go quick. So the running back, if you don't get 2 running backs in the top 5, you're probably having to look for, other, non-stud guys. But like we were talking about earlier, somebody like J.K. Dobbins, and late round, I could easily see him turning in running back 2 production, for that stuff. And I think there's a lot of guys out there, between rounds 6 and 10, who could potentially, fill that. So,
and I think in our shows this week, I think that's probably one of the most interesting players that have emerged from our conversation is Dobbins. We didn't get to Gainwell, Balky. That would be my question for you. What's Gainwell going to do now down at Tampa?
Well, I'll just tell you this. I think he does what he's done everywhere. It's catching the ball, especially coming off the season he had in Pittsburgh. I think this makes me less likely to draft Bucky Irving at a premium, whether he falls now, because of the perceived pass catching chops, or not chops, pass catching opportunities go away. They won't go away completely, but if you want Irving, he's running back 14 at the 304. I would imagine he falls a little bit in if he slips into the late third, early fourth. Okay, we can talk, but I don't think I'm going to have Irving on a whole lot of my teams this year. Gainwell has gone as high, guys, since the signing as the 901. Now, I think that's a little too rich for my blood, but double-digit rounds, yeah, for Gainwell, especially in managed leagues too, where I can stick him in know I can count on, 4 or 5 catches a week. And sometimes I'll get those 7, 8 catches. It's certainly very exciting for Gainwell. And I didn't think I'd ever say that in 2026, but I am excited to have Gainwell on as my running back 4, maybe a running back 5 as well.
So you're calling for the March Madness Etienne and Irving flip. You're going to move Irving down to 4, and you're going to move Etienne.
I don't know if it's going to go that far, but there's going to be. I mean, as far as an ADP factor goes, but I believe there's going to be some leagues where Etienne goes ahead of Irving. Sure.
Well, I'll remind you to get over to the KFFSC then and prove some of this in real time action. Dan, you are invited too from Chicago. All you got to do is get out of Chicago, then you're almost here.
Yeah.
And it's in Kentucky. Once you get off that Dan Ryan, you're pretty much home free.
Right down I-65. It's a smooth ride for sure. Danny, this was so much fun having you on tonight as well. Be good. Good luck in defending the belt in the Terminator this season, and as well as just enjoying drafting season and the NFL draft coming up. Certainly, not only a great time to be a Chicago Bears fan with the way that team is crescendoing, but obviously a good time to be an FFPC fan coming off a $25,000 victory last year in the Terminator. Blessings to you and good luck as you try to replicate that and maybe even win the $1 million in the main event this year as well. Thank you so much for popping on a couple of shows with us this week.
Absolutely. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Ferrell. Appreciate the time. This is great.
Absolutely. Be good, Danny. Talk with you
All
soon.
right.
That is Danny Kennedy, 2025 FFPC Terminator champ and a 12-time champion in the FFPC, 9 of those leagues in the Terminator. I don't know what the record is for most career Terminator League victories. He's got to be in the top 5, certainly top 10. Impressive stuff from Danny Kennedy once again tonight, Ferrell.
Yeah, I thought so too. I enjoyed talking with him.
The other thing that you can enjoy is competing against me in the Kentucky Fantasy Football State Championship. Main event, Sweet 16, Draft Masters. I'm in all of them. Do we have any Dynasty Orphans in the KFFSC, Ferrell, as well?
There's 2 floating around.
Okay.
And they will be published in the mailer this week.
Excellent. So make sure you're checking it out, kffsc.com. You can compete against me there. Very excited to do that and very excited to keep rolling with the Kentucky Fantasy Football State Championship. You, sir, enjoy your weekend, and we will talk again with you on Wednesday evening.
Thank you.
That is Ferrell Elliott, the definitive commissioner of fantasy football. That will wrap up Extra Reps here, the spinoff podcast of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. Thanks go out to Danny Kennedy, Ferrell Elliott, the FFPC, Rob Bryce, and of course, each and every one of you. We will be back. High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour will be back Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. In case you missed it, check out FFPC Insider Access, which aired last night at 7 o'clock. With myself, 2 full hours of fantasy football, NFL free agency goodness, with plenty of FFPC ADP. Check out the FFPC Dynasty Orphans, Empire Dynasty Orphans for as little as $1 right now at myffpc.com. The Never Too Early Best Ball and Never Too Early Superflex Best Ball tournaments also filling up at myffpc.com. $40,000 grand prize and $10,000 grand prize respectively there. The FFPC Big Gorilla, $350 entry, $1 million grand prize. 7 Bananas promo is live. Early Rampage tournament is live. Make sure you're cashing in on 2 tournaments for the price of 1 entry fee. Go to myffpc.com and join the Big Gorilla today. The Baby Gorilla also features a $100,000 grand prize at just $125 entry fee there. Those are all available at myffpc.com. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment on the video, share it with your friends, share it with your enemies, and get notified each and every time we go live. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Your weekend officially starts now.
This has been another episode of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by myffpc.com. It was broadcast live and was watched around the world. Balky and Ferrell will be back next week with more analysis, more interviews, and more advice from guests much smarter than they are. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk with you again next week.
Should also mention, except for the first Tuesday of every month when we will have the RotoViz High Stakes Lowdown, you can expect fresh content on our YouTube channel as well as Facebook and X. It is High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour, 10 p.m. on Wednesdays. FFPC Insider Access, 7 o'clock Thursdays. FFPC Extra Reps, High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour coming up 10 o'clock Fridays. So enjoy it, everybody. Hopefully you like the content. Give us some feedback on it, what you like to see, what you'd not like to see. We'd certainly appreciate it. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll talk with you again Wednesday night.